Pilates Fusion, and it's a lunchtime class, so it'll just be about 30 minutes. So we're gonna start laying on our back. So to get into a position that is interesting, I'm gonna use 2 yoga blocks. Now you could do a similar thing if you have a couple yoga blocks at your house. I'll show you what I'm gonna do in a second. But if you don't have any yoga blocks, then you could do either a throw pillow, or you can use a rolled up blanket. So if you use a throw pillow, you're gonna put the pillow on a diagonal. Your shoulders will go across this wide section with a point going down your spine and a point up here where your head is. Your head may lay backwards a little bit with the throw pillow. So if that doesn't sound so great, take a blanket and then you can roll it up so it's about the length of your spine or most of your spine. I like to do it a little flatter because it can be a little sensitive, but if you like a little bit firmer pressure, you can do it with the blanket going that way. Now you can either lay the blanket lengthwise and that'll have your head the same way, or if you put it crosswise, it'll be similar to the pillow. Your head will lay back onto the floor. So that's an option, and this is a nice, relatively mild option comparatively speaking. So the blocks are quite firm, but the way that I use them makes it a little comfortable. So I put a block on the floor, my shoulder blades are gonna rest on this block. To the best way that I can, I'm gonna get the bottom tip of my shoulder blade about lined up at the bottom of this block. Somewhere in that neighborhood feels the best to me. And then I like my head a little bit higher, so I turn the other block up for my head to rest on, but some people prefer it to be even, so that's up to you. Okay, so once I get into position, I'm gonna leave my legs out straight, but you can also use constructive rest position where you leave your knees in the air and your feet on the floor. So, first order of business is to get my shoulder blades snuggled into the center and about lined up on the block, and sometimes it takes a second for me to see if that's just right. That feels good. And then my head, I'm going to position so that to the degree possible my chin is level. So there's a slight up tilt because I'm lifting, but I'm not exaggerated with my chin. Okay? So the back of my neck feels reasonably long. Now I'm going to just let the arms fall down where they fall. If your elbows don't touch the ground, you can put something under them if you like. It can be a little spicy without. You could also try the arms out wider if you want a little bit more of a release in your chest muscle, big chest muscles. This one gets, the arms a little closer, gets deeper into the shoulder. Arm a little wider, we get bigger muscles involved. So really it's just, where do you feel the snugness? Is it mostly in your shoulder rolling forward, or is there a lot of tension in your pecs? Now we're taking the time to do this so that we sort of reset our posture. And then as we work our core, we're working with that refined posture instead of the rolled forward shoulder posture that we might have started our afternoon with here. Sometimes as I hang out and the tissue starts to let go, I have to make little adjustments, so make any little adjustments along the way that you need. To play, but I don't want to play that hard. Your sister's down there. Your sister's down there. We're gonna stay for about another 5 reps. Now sometimes if my shoulders feel really stubborn, if I've been leaning over a sewing machine or over the computer for a long period of time, this works better if I stay a little longer. But for our purposes, we're gonna just check it out. So I'm gonna take the block out from under my head first, roll to the side, slip this other guy out. And if you've got the blanket, you just pull that out, or the pillow. And then notice how it feels. So for me, there's this, when I've done it long enough for today, there's a sense that my shoulder sort of falls backwards towards the floor, the top of my shoulder, where often it feels like, I'm exaggerating a little bit because I don't know how clear this is on video, but feels like my shoulder wants to roll forward normally. So doing that with the blocks or the blanket or the pillow allows my shoulder to go back into its neutral position. And so that gives me a more neutral spine, right? So now I can work these abdominal pieces without reinforcing this postural imbalance. How's that? So we're gonna start by bringing the knees in. And you can give your whole back a little bit of a massage to start with, because that feels really nice, especially after being on the blanket or the blocks. We're gonna take the legs over to the side. You can pick left or right. I went right. And then I'm gonna wrap my left leg around a little bit. Some people can tuck their foot in. Mine doesn't tuck, but it gets close enough. And now I'm really gonna go for this pec muscle. So I'm gonna reach my arm out. I can leave my elbow bent. It can go like down lower, out to the side, up higher. So you kind of find the right spot. You don't want to pull so hard that it causes trouble for your shoulder or your elbow. We're just trying to release this muscle a little bit. And then I also feel it in my outer hip. Okay, so we're gonna take one more breath here. I'm gonna come back to the center. I'm gonna leave this leg across. So my left ankle or left shin is resting on top of my right thigh. And then bringing the hands behind your head. Now, one of the things that sometimes we can do when we're doing core work is we can pull from the neck. So instead of doing that, we're gonna really press the head into the hands so that the neck is quite secure. Then I have to do this work for my abdominals. And we're just gonna curl up so that we get to the point where at most the shoulder blades are off the floor, but not much more than that. Okay, so we're just gonna warm up the center abdominal region. So pressing the head back, exhale, curl up, inhale, come on back down. One more like that. Okay, now I'm gonna lift my legs up if I can, and do the same thing, also picking up the pelvis. If this doesn't work, go back to the first one. Keep pressing your head back, make your abdominals do that work. 3 more. And a bonus round. And then we're gonna let the legs come down. Now I'm going to release my head for the time being. I'm going to take my left leg up straight. I can leave my right leg as it is, straighten it out and let it rest, or hover it. In that order, it's more challenging. Okay, so this, a little bit more support, especially for my low back. This, I'm going to have to secure my low back with a little bit more abdominal support. This, tons of abdominal work and hip flexor work. So you're going to decide what you think is right for you. I'm taking my right arm up towards that left pinky toe. I'm going to leave my left hand on the floor for this, but you could, again, excuse me, to help you control the movement in your neck, you can use your left hand behind your head to help you keep your neck out of this racket here. So I'm going to demonstrate with the most supported, but you can take it up a notch. So I'm going to reach out, come up, reach out, come up. Okay? Try to keep your neck just along for the ride, and again, creating that support for yourself as needed. As you can take the arm down, reach through that shoulder, reach up towards that pinky toe. So we're creating this sense that we're reaching that whole range of motion. Right on. Good, we're gonna do 3 more. When we come down, we're gonna bring the left leg down. Bring the right leg in so that both legs are in this constructive rest position. Notice how your body may feel slightly asymmetrical. I don't know if it does, but it might. So I can feel this line from this hip to this shoulder where I was using my obliques. A little bit more interesting sensation there than on this line. It's fun to notice. All right, so give yourself a back massage. We're gonna do the other side. So we'll start with a twist, take the legs over, wrap. We're gonna stretch that line we were just working from this left hip to my right shoulder, nice and long. You might also feel it through your right hip and through the chest muscle here on the right. More nice big breath. And then I'm going to return from the twist again, leaving my right ankle up on top of my thigh, bringing my hands behind my head. We're going to do the supported version first just to get the back kind of lubricated in this notion, and then we'll lift the legs if we want to. So here we go. Inhale, exhale, curl. Keep your head pressing into your hands. Really target those abdominals. Try to undo any bad habits of using your neck. Now we can either lift the legs or keep going as we were. Three more. And a bonus round. All right, bring that leg down, head down, shoulders down if you like, or arms down. We're gonna stick that right leg up, left leg can be as is. Again, you can have it straight resting on the floor or straight and elevated. Choose the amount, choose your own adventure, yogis. Choose the amount of work you want to do. This arm can either rest on the floor quite firmly, so I'm pressing down into that arm, or I'm using this arm to help support the back of my neck, okay? Here we go, so we're coming up. Little disco move towards that big toe. Reach into the foot. And try to really trigger from these abdominals. Good. As you reach through that whole arm. Good. 3 more. And a bonus round. Coming on back down. I should probably just say 4 more, but I think it's funnier to say bonus round. All right. Now, just pause for a moment and notice. Does everything feel a little bit more even? Just for me. So that's kind of cool. So we're going to take ourselves and just essentially flip over. So we're just going to roll onto the belly. We're going to do some little locust work. So we're going to start with cobras and build our way up. So we're going to put the hands right under the shoulders. So we've worked the front half of our abs, we need to work the back half. So we're going to lift and try to do that with just your back muscles. Work your legs, press them into the ground. Lift. Good. Slide your hands back a little bit. Lift, draw the elbows towards your waist. Good. Slide the hands back. Elbows towards the waist. We're just broadening open the chest and the shoulder girdle. One more time that way. Now, I'm going to put my hands close to the bottom of my rib cage. My fingers are going to stay on the floor, but my palm doesn't quite fit all the way down. Yours might. It just depends on anatomy. So I'm going to reach through my legs, lift them, and then lift my chest, and that then brings my hands to the floor. So the theory is that we sort of look like a little grasshopper. Hence the name locust pose. So lengthen through the back of your neck. Sustain yourself as best you can. Now, if I overdo it with the legs, I can feel it in my sacrum. It's not friendly. But if I lift my torso, I can go as high as I can lift without causing trouble. So I just try to get my rib cage off the floor. One day, hope to get my belly button off the floor and levitate. One more breath. And then come on down. It's clear that I'm not enlightened yet, because I haven't moved on to levitation. All right, yogis. So we're going to take ourselves up to all fours. Hands facing forward. Do a couple of rounds of cat. Oh, feels weird to do that shape after the locust. And then we're going to turn the hands out to the sides. Do a couple more. And then this is spicy, so I'm going to only do one hand at a time. I'm going to take one hand, face it forward, one hand, wrap it around the back. Go to the outside with your fingers rather than the inside, so you don't have to grip your shoulder. And then I'm just going to kind of lean back and then cat my back. Oh. And then I'm going to put the top of my wrist on the floor and just lean back and cat. And give my wrist a little shake. Stretch out the fingers, curl them in a few times. Okay, let's do the other side. So turning that hand around, leaning back with a cat, back. Then the top of the hand to the floor, lean back, and this is a little bit trickier for me to get that stretch, but I can find it. Doesn't have to be super duper strong. Spread out the fingers, curl them in. So hopefully that's kind of released some tension from your shoulders, some tension from your wrists. Let's take a downward dog if that's available to us. And just get your shoulder blades in motion for a second and find the spot that feels like they marry into your back the best possible way. Then walk your heels up and down because that feels good. Ooh, dog. Okay. So walk yourself together. And come up halfway. Exhale, fold. Now I've got wide legs. You can have wide legs that are a little closer together. Just do a little swing here. You can have drapey arms, or you can hold your elbows. Make sure you have your knees bent enough that this doesn't cause trouble for your hamstrings. And then we're going to come all the way up to standing. Oh, give yourself a big stretch. My plants are on their journey back towards the window, so they've given me another couple of inches worth of room. I would like to set up a camera maybe one day and take pictures of them every day and see how long it takes for them to make their journey. All right, so I'm standing in a mountain pose. We're going to take all the weight into the right leg. So first just feel the weight distributed evenly across both feet. And then as you take the weight into that right leg, we're going to come back to that shape we did laying on our backs. We're going to bring the ankle across the thigh and then sit down into this. And you can do a variety of things with your arms to create an appropriate amount of challenge for yourself. We're going to take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to pick this up and step back into Warrior 2. Now, with the Warrior 2, we just want to keep this front knee pointing forward. So if it feels like your hips want to drag your knee, just adjust your hips a little bit so that they won't drag on your knee. And then we're going to do what's called the mermaid. Now in Pilates, this is usually done sitting on the floor. So we're going to stretch into reverse warrior. So we get this big stretch on the side, and then essentially side angle pose. So we're going to stretch over the other side. It can be a little bit rounder. When you sit on the floor doing this, you sort of resemble that statue in Copenhagen Harbor of the Little Mermaid. So I think that's why they call it that. It's a loose interpretation, y'all. We're just going to go back and forth. And what I like about doing this in this Warrior 2 shape is that it requires a little more strength for me to maintain my leg position and my balance. And that's fun. So one more time on this side. Ooh, hopefully our obliques are feeling the love. So I'm going to stretch out my front leg and take this into triangle. So this is a big hamstring stretch for me sometimes, maybe for you too. And then play with your ribs, but notice if you try to tuck your hip under, it might be better not to. See where it takes you. Take a nice big inhale. Exhale, we're gonna bring both hands back down to the floor. Now, I'm gonna step back into down dog. Come forward into a plank. Maintain the plank for 3 breaths. You can do a full plank, or you can modify your plank. Oh, lift through the abs. Got hair in my mouth. And then we're gonna lower down with control. Take a little cobra. Now reach your right arm out, roll onto your right side. So now your head is resting on your arm. I prefer this to this because this is an unnatural position for the neck, and I think it reinforces bad habits. But if you'd prefer to do it that way, I'm not gonna stop you, you're at your house. So hips on top, shoulders on top, bend at the knee, bring your feet behind you, and then lift the feet. So my knees are resting. This gives me an internal rotation of my top leg. When I open that, it's gonna make these external hip rotators fire. I'm gonna take that leg out, bring it back together, and close it up. Now, if this hurts your knee, try to just go to here, hold it for a beat, and then close it up. If these muscles are not as strong as we want them to be, sometimes the load transfers. So do what's right for you. Open, if you can extend, go for it. If not, hold it. Close it up. This is a great way to strengthen these muscles that also help support our balance poses. So it works together, y'all. This is the beauty of the Yoga Pilates fusion, is they're complementary disciplines. All right, we're gonna do 3 more of these. 3 for real. All right, so then we're gonna bring the knees together, straighten out the legs, put them down. We're gonna take this top leg and bring it forward. Now you can bring it forward straight like that, or put the foot on the ground. We're gonna take this bottom leg and lift it up, and then we're gonna pulse it up a little higher. Try to lift up your right side waist. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Put that leg down, we're rolling all the way back. Coming up and into down dog. Give yourself a moment, feel that. Take your left leg up, bring it in nice and tight, round your back. Stretch it back, sink into your right heel. Bring it in nice and tight, round your back. Stretch it back, hopefully you heard that. Step your foot as far forward as you can. Bring the other one up to meet it. Come up halfway and then come all the way to standing. Give it a stretch. All right, mountain pose. See if you can feel a difference between your 2 sides. I know I can. I'm gonna face this way, so I wind up still facing the camera in a minute. Okay, so we're gonna shift the weight into our left leg and bring the right ankle up on top. And again, once you've caught that balance, more or less, see what happens if you challenge it by choosing a different arm position. Stay with it even if it wobbles. Take 1 more breath. And then we're going to pick it up and step it back into warrior 2. And again, I'm going to play with this until it feels like my pelvis is solid and not feeling any undue pressure in my hip joints, knees, or ankles. And then we're going to try to hold the legs steady as we move through the mermaid. And if you notice you need a little adjustment, adjust. Try to keep those legs really stable. Reach through the side. Oh, it feels so good. I'm a fan of the mermaid, and I'm a fan of these 2 poses that turn into the mermaid. Oh. Good. 1 more time. then we're going to turn this into a triangle pose. Enjoy your triangle, however it's kind of manifesting for you today. One more big breath. And then we're going to come out of there and, oh, sorry about that, buddy. Step back into down dog. Forward into our plank. And hold the full plank steady. Warrior modified plank steady. One more breath. And then lower down with control. Come into a cobra, some other pose. And then that left arm reaches up. And I roll into my left side. Get myself steady, hips on top of hips, shoulders on top of shoulders. I bring my feet back behind me and then lift them up. So I should still have my hips stacked, not moving forward there. Shoulders are on top of each other. You can put an arm up front if you need extra stability. So we're going to hug in the sides of the waist, open, maybe extend, maybe just hold steady, and bring it back. Try to be distinct in the movements, but also smooth, like you're underwater. And we got 3 more to go. Then we're going to extend the legs out. Take that top leg, bring it forward. Again, you decide how. Hug through the sides of your waist, but especially lift that left side waist. Lift your left leg, we're pulsing it up. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift and hold. Come on back down. So we're going to roll onto our back. Give ourselves a big stretch. This is kind of like mountain pose, laying down. Just give yourself a moment, feel your body. We only have 1 pose left to do, y'all, and that is a boat pose. You know you love a boat pose. So we're gonna rock ourselves up, pick up our legs, lift the heart, rock a little boat, maybe with some extras. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just like that, our Yoga Pilates Fusion class is done for today. So I have really enjoyed practicing with you guys today online. Let's take a big breath together. Big deep sigh. Sometimes it's really nice to just fold over your legs and hang out there, or you could do some Shavasana. But otherwise, have a great rest of your